Vince?
Nitro.
Specifically, Nitro 144, June 15th.
No one could want to watch his show, so I don't even know why you would.
There is one thing on the show worth recommending. Mm-hmm. We shall get to it. So after...
They were in Uniondale, New York. I think this is the first time that WCW was in New York. Is that correct?
Well, they were in Long Island.
Well, after this, they probably never went back.
Dude, they shouldn't have gotten back. They should have been banned.
So the finish was very convoluted. It involved all 5 men. 3 of them went through 2 tables. Public Enemy was awarded the win via a pinfall on the floor.
Okay, I'll explain it.
Why?
Rocco... So, Barbarian and Hugh Morris are on the apron. They're both there. Who knows why? Rocco goes to do a high cross to put them through a table on the outside. They just catch him. Johnny Grunge then grabs Jimmy Hart, who is a foreign object, apparently. He lifts him up, and he throws Jimmy into all 3 of them. Everybody tumbles through a table. There are bodies everywhere, and Nick Patrick, for no good reason, just counts the pin outside the ring.
To end the match.
Yes.
That's a great reason.
Well, Rocco
It's not a Falls Count Anywhere match.
I don't care. I wanted it over.
I wanted it over too, but it was stupid.
Rocco was kind of laying on the Barbarian.
Great.
And that counted as a pinfall, I guess.
As I wrote here, I don't know who pinned who, and I don't care.
Actually, it's funny. I recapped this whole match, and in looking at my notes, I don't know who pinned who either.
I'm telling you.
I was mostly baffled that Nick Patrick was counting 3 bodies.
Rocco pinned the Barbarian.
No one cares.
The point is, it doesn't
Barbarian
matter.
doesn't care.
It doesn't matter. That's why this was so infuriating.
That
They killed
is
each
true.
other, and no one knows who won.
Hey, they didn't open up with a promo.
Mike Tenay was hanging out with the fans earlier today. They were all very loud and annoying, and Mike Tenay was way too close to the open flames on a barbecue grill. Then, following this annoyance, they followed it with a request for Nitro Party clips and more annoying people. Stop putting annoying people on TV.
There's 3 hours.
I'm
They're
not watching
forced
wrestling
do
to
this
see wrestling fans.
stupid stuff like
I want to
this.
see wrestlers. Mean Gene brings Randy Savage out for a promo.
So, by the way, before we talk about the promo, they had a pay-per-view the night before.
Yes.
Randy Savage, the story was his knee was injured so badly that he not only lost the tag team match where he was teaming with Roddy,
To the sharpshooter.
but they also did the singles match afterwards, and he lost again because of his knee.
Right.
To a figure 4.
Now he just dances on down to the ring.
He was so
He didn't
hurt.
sell his damn knee one single bit here.
He was so hurt in those 2 matches. They put him in the main event on a cage match, a cage match, the next night.
Yeah. All I could think watching these results was who I wanted to be there when they explained to Randy, we need you to submit twice on this show.
Dude, all you need to know is he came out for this promo and says, I miss New York. It's like, I'll bet you do.
He said the Wolfpack did not eat at the same restaurants or hit on the same women. So they all go out separately after the show. No one eats at the same place.
Well,
Maybe
people-
what he was trying to say was clearly the NWO Black and White all hit on the same women.
Yeah.
Or they have better standards.
Liz, for example.
Yes.
But these Wolfpack, they don't do that.
No, that's Bischoff's girl now.
She's everybody's girl, Craig.
Oh, that's right.
I thought that was abundantly clear.
I forgot bicycle.
It would
That's
be
right.
fair to say she was Bischoff's girl for a time.
For a minute.
So, anyway, he wants a cage match with DDP, and if DDP can beat him, then he'll allow Paige into the Wolfpack. So they had clips of that whole mess in the pay-per-view like we were talking about. Also on that show, Booker beat Benoit to win the Best of 7 series, and then on the same show, beat Finlay to win the TV title.
Yep.
It seems rushed to me, but then I don't care, because we got Chris Benoit versus Fit Finlay.
Battle of the losers.
These were 2 winners.
Technically true,
Yes,
but no,
technically true.
spiritually not.
No.
In the wrestling ring, is the winners. Now, is it just me? Or is Fit Finlay the most underrated guy of the entire Monday Night Wars era?
Absolutely.
He was, I thought,
I knew he was pretty great back then.
I'm watching this. I thought, to me, he was clearly the best guy in this match. And the other guy was Chris Benoit. That's a high standard. Finlay was freaking awesome.
Dude, this was such a fun fight.
Yeah,
It was a fight.
This was the best thing on either show.
by far.
I know that
This is the
sounds
ones-
hard to believe.
This is what I was talking about when I said there was one thing I can recommend on this show. If you need something to watch on this Wednesday, for most of you, look up this episode of Nitro and watch Benoit and Finlay.
Fans were going absolutely crazy for this match. The wrestling was great. Finish was great.
Finlay's body slams are the best thing ever. I mentioned the one he did to Hoovy a few weeks ago,
They really are.
but he does them all like that.
Yeah, he stands them straight up like he's going to drop them on their head and then just...
Then lifts them straight up and then powers them down.
Just slams them.
And it's a slam.
It looks awesome.
That's great. I did also like the crowd chanting USA for this match between the Irishman and the Canadian.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
And Finlay tried a tombstone, but Benoit reversed it into a crossface for the submission win. This was great wrestling.
It was seamless the way they did the finish. It was so great.
So Gene then interviews Benoit in the ring. Benoit says, there's something I need to do to Booker T, something I should have done a long time ago. He calls Booker out so they can handle this face-to-face.
Booker comes out with his brother, Stevie Ray. I love everything about Stevie Ray until, as we'll see later, he has to wrestle.
That is the flaw.
He is absolutely the most horrendous wrestler. But aside from that, he's a superior professional wrestler in many ways. He's wearing his outfit. It's just total heel outfit. You just know he's going to be a heel because of the outfit he's wearing. He called Chris Benoit a pipsqueak.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off.
So what Benoit wanted to do was shake Booker's hand and then raise his hand. They had a mutual admiration session, talked about how much they respected each other. And Benoit starts to say, if you ever need anyone watching your back, I'll be in your corner. Stevie's pissed off. Says, hey, he's already got a partner. He doesn't need a pipsqueak like you. You wouldn't have lasted 10 seconds if Booker had wrestled like I told him to.
So basically, he's Rhino if you watched Raw on Monday.
Benoit tries to ignore this. Says again he'll be there. He'd be a good man to be in Booker's corner. Stevie sucker punches him. Booker tries to pull Stevie off. Mongo hits the ring for the first time in months.
I popped.
So did Larry. Mongo lives, Larry cries. Crowd's going nuts. Eventually, Booker pulls Stevie away. Mongo's holding Benoit back. Crowd's demanding Flair. Benoit says, I am not there for NWO Red. I am not here for NWO White. I'm here for... And he holds up 4 fingers. The crowd goes crazy.
I liked this whole segment.
It was really good. This is good wrestling. Gene called DDP out for a promo. He said he'd been proving himself all his life. If these people wanted a cage match, they got it. Then he called out Hollywood Scum Hogan, which he said every week, and it got more and more funny. Called out Dennis Rodman, said he got himself a partner, and that partner would help him deliver the bang. A clue.
I see what he did there.
Mm-hmm. So they showed Hogan and Rodman attacking Paige last week, addressed the rumors that Karl Malone would be Paige's tag team partner. For those of you who don't remember, Karl Malone was a basketball player whose nickname was the Mailman.
Oh, you should have let Brian guess.
I knew that.
I'm sure it was
He
right
wrote
on the
a
tip
book
of your
about
tongue.
Are you
this.
kidding me? I wrote a book on this. I watched all of this stuff.
Piper comes out for a promo.
Oh.
Here's everything I wrote about this. His hand was bleeding for some reason. He booked Savage Page in a cage and made himself the special ref.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, he said he would never, ever be a special referee again.
Right.
Then he assigned himself to be the special referee for this match. Rambled on like an absolute madman, which, admittedly, he said, I'm as crazy as Randy Savage, which is very crazy, or vice versa. He's as crazy as I am. Yeah, he's out of his mind.
Masahiro Chono and Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus High Voltage.
Oh my God. You know Tenzon's still wrestling?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. This goddamn match. So having this match, fight breaks out in the crowd. It's like a 5-minute fight. I mean, they were not paying attention forever.
No.
These two teams are just wrestling and wrestling.
Well, let's think about this for a second.
And wrestling.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
They're going on and on.
Let's think about this for 4 seconds. Tenzan and Shono, in the world of wrestling, here in this crowd, they are evil foreigners. They are wearing black and white NWO t-shirts that everyone hates. So they come out here, and High Voltage gets the heat on Tenzan. What the hell?
Because nobody had any idea what was going on in this match right here.
No.
They went on for like an hour, easy, and I'm getting more and more infuriated. Like, can we end this fucking match? I mean, it's not a terrible match, but
It was just boring.
there's nothing to it.
It was boring and totally pointless.
I can't remember the last time we saw Chono and Tenzan on the show. Maybe never. I know we've seen Chono. Obviously, nothing is going to come of this. And finally, Tenzan goes up top, hits a diving headbutt on Chaos. Fucking Chaos kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same reaction.
I was just beside myself.
Just lay down.
And then Chono gets to the ring and Yakuza kicks this motherfucker and pins him. And I was like, thank God. Like, why did you kick out of that? Who put this match together?
I don't know.
Who was responsible for this? I want them banished from wrestling.
So the other thing here in this match, what is the biggest feud on Monday Nitro at this point in history?
Hogan and Sting?
It's the Wolfpack and the Black and White.
Oh, it is?
It's on every segment.
Theoretically, yes.
Well, I thought that Hogan and Sting would be bigger. In the history of all of Nitro?
Well,
No,
it's
no,
supposed
at
to be
this
bigger.
point in
Oh,
history.
at this point. Yes.
Yeah. Now, an hour into the show, during a random pointless tag match, the announcers very casually mentioned, oh, by the way, last night, Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude jumped sides.
Yep.
They jumped from the Wolfpack to the Black and White for no reason. A month ago, they jumped from the Black and White to the Wolfpack for no reason. No one has any idea what they're doing. They're drawing shit out of a hat and putting it on TV.
Well, you're right, but I liked what they did with that.
They at least tried at the
Yes.
end. They tried to explain some of this. They showed Sting beating Giant at the Bash to win possession of both tag belts. Now he gets to choose a partner. Then the Wolfpack came out for a promo. They congratulated Sting on his championship win. He came out with both belts. Got a big old smile. One fan in the aisle had an Ultimate Warrior poster. Fans were chanting Warrior's name.
Lucky them. Lucky them.
So Sting gets...
Ask and ye shall receive.
Sting hypes up the credentials of Nash and Luger and Konnan and says, whoever I choose, it'll be a great partner. And we'll find out in our tag match later.
This is why 3 hours sucks. They did an entire segment that was all about how Sting was not going to tell us who his partner was yet.
Yes.
When I'm president, there will be no 3-hour wrestling shows. I will sign it into law.
They showed Kanyon beating Saturn at the pay-per-view and then getting jumped by Raven, who was disguised as Mortis. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Kanyon versus Sick Boy.
Sick Boy is just absolutely terrible, but Kanyon got a decent match out of him. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Goes in the category of decent matches that no one cares about.
There were so many moves.
Kanyon did a lot of moves. Kanyon was the innovator. They said, look at all these moves he's doing. Went back and forth 800 times. Kanyon won with the flatliner, which, even though it's the old name, it's also a new move. Because it used to be the Samoan drop off the middle rope. Now it's the downward spiral.
I love when this was over.
Me
Tony
too.
Schiavone said, these are his exact words. This man is on a win streak. It started last night. That's what he said.
2.
With no irony.
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong.
So Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig come out for a promo.
I'll explain this because I liked it.
Yeah.
So, the story was, it was supposed to be Goldberg versus Kurt Hennig. But Kurt Hennig claimed that he got an injury. He injured his knee. And he was going to be out of action for just a short period of time. And so he asked Konnan, his buddy in the white and black, if he would please step in for him and have his matches with Goldberg. Konnan, your classic mark, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. So, of course, they have the match at the pay-per-view, and Goldberg killed him, and then Henig and Rude revealed that they were, in fact, now part of the red and black. They had screwed the white and black
Vice versa.
and screwed Konnan.
Vice
Well,
versa.
they're in the white and black now. They were in the red and black.
You
You
mixed
got
them
it
up.
backwards.
Impossible. Now, they are still pushing Henig versus Goldberg, and Rude claims the streak will end.
Now, what you overlooked here is they actually explained here why they left the Wolfpack.
Money.
Hulk Hogan paid better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we do know he's
That
got
wasn't
money.
so hard.
No.
So at the end of this promo,
This was amazing.
this is actually the best thing. Hennig's laughing at Konnan. He says, look, ever since I've been here, I got here and I swerved DDP. Then I swerved the Four Horsemen. Last night, I swerved Konnan. But I'll never swerve you, Rick. And looked at each other, looked at the camera, looked at each other, looked at the camera. Someone here Rude realized, I'm fucked. But they left together. It was really funny.
These two are the best.
They were great. He showed Goldberg beating Conan to go to 100-0. He showed Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko brawling in the parking lot the night before.
It was a great brawl. It was an awesome brawl.
So the Cruiserweight title, I was very confused by this promo. It had been held up, and then the match was a DQ, so it was going back to Jericho?
Don't ask.
Dylan says, I will return this belt to you if you promise to grant Dean Malenko a title match within 30 days.
This was so weird. He said, I'll give this to you, provided, do we all know what that word means, provided?
As long
Provided you defend within 30 days against Dean Malenko. Jericho then claims, I was at the Library of Congress, and it stated that I must defend within 30 days, but I don't have to defend against Dean Malenko, and then he snatched the belt away. Shouldn't JJ have said, no, you don't get it back unless you defend against Dean within 30 days?
I don't know.
In a logical world, he wouldn't give him the title back. He would have him face Dean, and the winner would get the title.
They would do a rematch for the held up belt again. Yeah.
Yes.
So Jericho says Dean is a worthless loser like his dad. Dean zooms in and attack him, and they had a brawl.
This was a great brawl.
Mm-hmm.
This had to have set the record for most real estate used in a brawl.
Did you not see the opener?
That would be most equipment used.
Yes.
Plunder.
Yeah. This is just total land area covered.
Yes.
They started at the stage. They brawled into the back. They brawled deep and deep and deep into the back. Dean kept finding things to throw Jericho into, and Jericho kept finding new ways to make funny noises.
Including a big cardboard box.
Just a cardboard box. And finally, after several minutes of this, security runs up and tackles Dean, and Jericho, who was already run like a half mile, Jericho goes on a long run deep into the background of the shot, and then up a ramp.
Yeah.
Dude, they were in the loading dock of a large arena.
Yes.
And he ran so far that you couldn't even see him anymore.
He gets smaller and
He
smaller.
just kept going.
There was a car coming down the ramp. I swear it was a cab that he had hailed.
That was awesome. Let's see. Chris Adams versus the Giant.
God, this is all just so dumb.
Giant is now doing the cigarette gimmick,
Yeah.
where he has to light up as his match is starting.
Yeah, Sting made fun of him for doing too much smoking and not enough training.
Well, it'll stunt your growth.
And so he comes out and
was
he's
funny.
smoking.
He lights up on the stage, gets in the ring. Now he's annoyed he has to wrestle. Like, you know you're the Giant. You know you've got 23 hours and 55 other minutes of the day to have your smoke.
Right.
He has to light up right now.
Well, I think it was to mock Sting, his
see.
former partner.
I see.
It's still very stupid.
So Adams wants to fight. Giant punches him once. Adams keeps trying to fight. Giant chokeslams him with the cigarette in his mouth.
That was at least funny.
That was funny. Pins him with a foot in the chest. Leaves.
This gimmick was so over. They brought it back when he was in WWF. Whatever.
You ever heard his, I think it was on Table for Three. He told the story of his first day as a member of the WWF roster. Was it St. Valentine's Day Massacre when he debuted?
I think so.
It's a show where he made his debut. And Patterson and I think it was Lanza, they lead him into Vince's office to have a meeting. And then they notice he's got cigarettes. And they fool him into lighting up in Vince's office. They say, hey, let's have us all have smokes. And they do. And of course, they put theirs out immediately. And Vince walks in, and here's Paul White on his first day on the job smoking in Vince McMahon's office. Didn't go well. Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and Disciple came out for a promo.
At least they had a point this week.
Hogan ran his mouth about selling out Madison Square Garden, said he would always be the man. Said Dallas Page was the biggest whiner in the Wolfpack or WCW. Triple Dog dared him to find a partner and do something about it.
Yeah, they were openly speculating about Karl Malone. Mm-hmm. Like they were basically letting you know.
Karl Malone's going to be his partner.
But they were stringing you
Page's
along
partner, yeah.
to...
Sting and a mystery partner versus Harlem Heat. So Sting comes out, and this time, I don't think he saw it the first time, but this time he's coming out and he sees the fan with the Ultimate Warrior poster. And he pauses, and he looks at it. Remember how he said that since joining the Wolfpack, Sting's been smiling again? Looked at this Warrior poster. Wasn't smiling no more.
Nope.
Made his way to the ring. So cutting a promo, he says, Savage is crazy, Paige is in for a fight. And my new tag team championship partner is Kevin Nash.
What a shocker.
Funny how that works.
And then Mike Tenay goes, he fooled the experts. I was like, who the experts think it was going to be? Like maybe Luger? I mean, was there a long list of names the experts figured it would be?
He only had 4 choices.
Of course it was going to be Nash. Another championship he didn't have to win, and he invariably probably will not have to lose.
It's like you've seen this before.
Yeah.
So Nash threatens Kurt Hennig. Then we get the match. It's Harlem Heat versus Sting and Nash. This is really long. Mm-hmm. Stevie Ray versus Kevin Nash. Slow wrestling.
You don't say.
Very slow wrestling. Goes on for a long time. It occurred to me here, the Wolfpack are the most popular act in this show, except for Goldberg, who wasn't on the show. By light years, the Wolfpack are the biggest stars. So, of course, they get the heat on Booker. For like 10 minutes.
It should be noted that the very first spot that Booker and Sting did was a leapfrog spot. And Booker, I don't know what he thought was supposed to happen, but Sting leaps high in the air, and Booker, like, falls to his knees underneath Sting, blows out his knee, and immediately rolls outside. And I don't think it was a serious injury because he kept working and he kept running.
For
but
like 20 minutes.
yeah, he was trying very hard to pretend that he wasn't hurt, even though it was very clear he was.
I see.
And yeah, then they beat on him for like 10 years.
Yep.
And then my favorite part, it's amazing. You know where I'm going?
The hot tag?
They fucking have Booker T tag Stevie Ray. And Tenay, as you got to just remember this, as it's happening, Tenay screams, Stevie Ray's all fired up. Stevie Ray gets a tag. He literally steps through the ropes and stands there. Mm-hmm. Am I making this up?
No. Absolutely not.
He didn't throw one clothesline.
Nope.
He didn't do one offensive maneuver. He got the tag, he stepped into the ring, and he stood there. He's horrible. God bless him.
He stood there for a while. He hit like an elbow and then stood there for a while. You know what this reminded me of all of a sudden? This is Jinder Mahal.
No way. Jinder Mahal's way better than Stevie Ray.
Right.
Dude, he tries to hit Stevie Ray with the death drop.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray does not bend at all.
Sting's like has to like jump up.
Dude, like, I understand not being able to lay on your back and do like a full gymnastics Bray Wyatt bridge. Like, the guy's standing completely upright.
Yeah.
All he has to do is lean back like a little bit and look up. He can't.
No.
He can't look up and he can't lean back. Sting's like on his tiptoes, reaching over the guy's shoulder, like trying to get around his neck, sort of, and then they both just tumble backwards.
That was the finish.
That was the finish.
The biggest pop in this match, Kevin Nash doing a crotch chop.
Yes.
This was a bad match.
Stevie
Not to mention, he hits the death drop right by the goddamn ropes. And poor Booker T has to just be the incompetent partner who's a foot away from his brother, and he has to pretend like he can't get there because the ref's out of position. So by the time the ref runs over there, Booker's like, he's swimming for like an hour, but he's not making any distance. And finally the ref counts 3, and he collapses. This is terrible.
Did we mention that Stevie's hot tag consisted exactly 2 moves, then stopping to scold Booker, then spit at Nash, and then take the worst reverse DDT of all time and get pinned? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No good this was. We had the same Hulk Hogan, Scott Steiner video from Hollywood last week. And then Bischoff brings Steiner onto the stage for a promo.
Listen, I gotta give Scott Steiner credit.
Why?
Retroactively. He made great improvements over the next year.
There you go.
Because he was like, if you only saw Big Papa Pump and you went back and watched this, you wouldn't even believe it's the same guy.
It's hard to believe.
It's impossible to believe.
It's true.
Now,
He was a black hole, an abyss of charisma.
I don't know if he was just this nervous or I don't know if he had just completed a hearty workout right before this segment.
He was sweating.
He was sweating, but you know what? Do you remember long-haired Scotty Steiner?
Yeah.
He was never a good promo.
Well, no. But
He hadn't grown into the act yet. He
All I'm
hadn't
saying-
figured it out.
he comes out on stage, he sits down. Yes, he has a jacket on. Yes, there are very hot lights. He is sweating more as soon as he's on stage than I am after 30 minutes on the treadmill. He's
Well,
just
you know-
pouring buckets of sweat.
A lot of those thermogenics, caffeine,
I guess so.
ephedrine,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyway, he got a horrible promo about how New York sucked and LA was great.
You know what's so horrible? Here's the thing with Steiner. Like, let's not lie. Steiner's promos were always, like, they were always terrible, but they were funny. Like, he knew how to say the right things, but he was never, like, a great speaker.
He write things?
He was never, like, a great talker.
Well, and the wrong things.
But he figured out how to be great. This was every interview he ever did, but there was nothing funny or great about it. Does that make sense? He never became Nick Bockwinkel. He
No,
was always
no.
Scott Steiner. He was just a much more effective Scott Steiner when everyone believed that he was going to go crazy and kill people at a moment's notice.
He found his footing.
He found
Some
he
confidence.
found his smile.
He said he was going to go to Hollywood to pay homage to Hulk Hogan.
Homage.
That's what he said.
That kind of cheese.
And last week it was superstar Scott Steiner. This week they tried Big Popalicious.
Yeah.
They just keep trying.
Hey, they found one eventually.
They didn't give up.
Dallas Page versus Randy Savage in a steel cage with a roof on it for some reason,
This was so boring.
and Roddy Piper a special ref. So Piper and Savage come out. They get in the cage. Page comes out, climbs on top of it to pose to the fans for no reason. And then they get in there. It's an immobile Randy Savage who, at this point, couldn't do much whether he was selling a knee injury or not. It's Page. It's Piper who's crazy. They are in a ring now. They can't leave the ring. There's nothing to
No.
do to solve for time. So it's 10 minutes of stomping and choking and going into the cage.
Now listen,
Over and over.
I know that Roddy Piper is a wrestler and a legend. But to cut to the chase, eventually he beats up both men. Mm-hmm. What a bunch of absolute geeks.
Well, to be fair, Savage attacked him first, and then for whatever reason, Page attacked him. So they had
Well,
it
it was
coming.
important to make sure the fans knew Page was not a star going into his main event tag match with Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, I have no idea. So Savage at one point decided to hit the big elbow, even though he couldn't even stand on the top rope because of the roof.
Crushed DDP because he couldn't stand.
All three men start brawling for reasons I couldn't fathom. I had no idea what was going on. I barely cared.
Actually, I think the reason he crushed Page was he was getting to the point in his career where he was crushing everybody because his hip was starting to go. And so instead of landing on his hip, he would just absolutely smash everybody. Everyone hated taking this elbow at the end.
I figured he couldn't get the height because there was nowhere to jump up,
Well, there was that issue.
and also he had a bum knee. So
So the cage mysteriously raises a few feet. The black and white are run out. The cage lowers, and they start beating up all three men.
why did Liz get in the cage?
I don't
Got to make her money.
Got in the
well,
cage.
because all of the black and white was in there, had she been out of the cage, she'd been vulnerable.
Okay. I just noticed Bischoff was just pawing at her the whole time. So it
Well,
didn't matter.
that's the other reason. Bischoff, just in case a mood hit him, he wanted her to be right by his side.
You know, there were a lot more sober people on this show this week after last week.
Yes, there were.
I wonder if Bischoff just sat down and said, okay, can we all just calm down a little bit?
Boys, we have a problem.
We're a little out of control
Last
here.
week's show was pretty amazing. So Sting runs out. First thing he does is climb the top of the cage, and I had flashbacks to like a decade prior when Sting was climbing a cage and blew out his knee. He's fine. So no one can figure out what to do. Nash,
Well, no, hold on. Before you talk about what Nash does, while Sting is climbing the cage, they've got this big wide shot, and you see Kevin Nash come down to ringside. His buddy is getting killed. The entire NWO is killing Randy Savage. Nash is like sleepwalking to the cage, and he's just standing there, just looking at the door. Like Larry Zbyszko is telling him to just rip the door off the hinges, and he's just standing there. He's looking at it. I could not even like, he had to think there was no camera on him, right? He couldn't possibly have been trying.
I don't know.
Then he runs to the back, and he gets the gimmick.
He gets the controls that lift the cage. He's very proud. He's waving them around in the air as Savage and Page and Piper have been stomped to smithereens.
Yeah.
They're a fine red paste all over the mat. And he hits the button. The cage raises. My first thought there, by the way, when he hit the button, did he at least make sure Sting was not still on top of the cage?
I don't
would
have
hope
any
so.
idea.
Thank God he was not. Cage raises. Black and White runs away. That's the end. What a long, boring
This was like
show.
that one SmackDown you watched. I think you watched this one, where all the women came out for the big brawl to set up Money in the Bank, and they're all absolutely killing each other in the giant brawl around ringside. Do you remember this?
No, but it doesn't mean I didn't watch it.
So, all of the women get in this brawl, and it's actually a violent brawl, and they're being put through announcers' tables, and Charlotte's like doing this moonsault off the post, and there's bodies everywhere, and it seriously looks like a crime scene. And then they hit Shane's music, and he
Oh, yes.
dances down
Yes.
to the ring.
Yes.
He's dancing.
I do remember that now,
He's
yeah.
shaking hands with the fans. He's smiling. And he gets in the ring all happy. And he's like, man, this is some shit. Let's fight a match.
That's pretty much how
That's
it went.
exactly what Nash did. He raises the cage, and he's so happy.
Yes.
And I'm like, maybe you could run back down there because he's still getting his ass beaten right here. They could use your help. Nope. He was proud that he did his job. I pushed a button. I did my job.
He pushed a lot of buttons, actually.
I solved the puzzle, it's more like.
Yeah.
Now, where's my treat?
Now, the story, by the way, is that Savage, his knee was destroyed. So Savage is going to be out of action for a while.
Yikes.
Yeah. Well, let's play a song. I hope it's a good one.
There you go.
Wow.
I like this trend.
Wow. Well, that's it, everybody. We're out of here. Be back on Thursday with whatever we're watching. I've already lost track.
Who knows?
It'll be NXT and Lucha Underground and I don't know. We'll figure it out. And Granny. And that's it. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.